is not enough to take this weapon out of the hands of the soldiers. It must be put into the hands of those who will know how to strip its military casing and adapt it to the arts of peace.
Based on their observations, the members of the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists Science and Security Board find conditions in the world to be so threatening that they are moving the hands of the doomsday clock 2 minutes closer to midnight. It is now 3 minutes to midnight. This year especially, the board feels a sense of great urgency. The probability of global catastrophe is really very high, and the actions needed to reduce the risks of disaster must be taken very soon. We can manage our technology or become victims of it. The choice is ours, and the clock is ticking. But as long as there are nuclear weapons in the world, really the most destructive and powerful technology in the world, as long as there are these weapons and they're poised, ready to use, as they are now, in minutes, we still need to warn the world about the dangers from these, and we need to warn the world about the dangerous choices we make on a number of technologies. We're seeing the earth-altering effects of climate change. Again, humans, our own technologies.
And so you only have a finite amount of time before essentially emissions have to stop. And you can't taper down to zero overnight. So the urgency is simply that action has to happen soon, starting now really, to reduce global emissions, to have a reasonable chance of limiting them to a level that allows you a degree of warming.
Let's get the latest from East Ukraine now. And residents in Golovka in the east say they're living through a nightmare and blame the Ukrainian army for resuming intense artillery attacks on their town. Residential areas have been shelled overnight. You can see broken windows in this apartment building, and we've got the news wall there behind me. Locals say Ukrainian troops used heavy artillery. Also a church and a local market have come under fire. For his part, President Poroshenko, meanwhile, has been calling Ukrainians to arms with a fourth mobilization draft in a year. It's the largest to date, too, set to get 100,000 people into the military, including everyone between the ages of 18 and 60, with a voluntary mobilization for women, too. Evading the draft could land you in jail for 5 years and earn the personal condemnation of the president's advisor. What do I mean by that? Well, he calls the fleeing conscripts, even if they're conscientious objectors, cowardly animals with the tails between their legs, and says they hide in neighbouring countries like Hungary, Romania, Slovakia, Poland. That comment was posted on his Facebook page, by the way. It's since been deleted. One destination, though, for those fleeing the draft that he didn't mention was Russia, the country seen as the enemy by Kiev. Some have come up and gone to a refugee camp across the border in Russia. One of them told RT about the National Guard's conscription methods.
We don't want to fight, but nobody asks whether we want to or not. Recently, a friend of mine was on the bus when the National Guards came on board. They told her and the other female passengers to get out, and they made the young men stay. And then they drove off with them somewhere. What do we need this war for? They'll kill us, and no one will care.
Since the conflict in the east erupted last year, Ukraine has been accusing Russia of backing anti-government forces, fighting alongside them and supplying them with arms. But recently, Ukraine's chief of staff backtracked on those allegations, saying Kiev is not engaged in combat with Russian units. That prompted a response. Find out what Moscow said on our website, rt.com.
There are some in the independent media who will tell you that there is no such thing as a FEMA camp, and that only people with tinfoil hats believe anything to the contrary. But after reading this article, which is the first in a series of articles on FEMA camps, you will be armed with the knowledge and legislation which validates the claim that not only FEMA camps are real, They are being prepared for their soon-to-be guests. The only thing that is missing is a catalyst event. Are you ready for the coming tyrannical crackdown and the complete evisceration of our constitutional liberties? Have you taken the proper precautions that will ensure the safety of you and your family? It is not likely that very many of us have taken any meaningful steps to maximize our chances for survival in what will prove to be humanity's darkest days. Will it be possible to avoid detection and prevent yourself from being taken into custody and sent to a FEMA camp? When the DHS bus rolls into your neighborhood, are you prepared to deal with what lies ahead? Let's assume for a second that Obama attempts a third false flag, like the two has attempted in the past several months, and he is successful. Subsequently, martial law is fully declared. I have always said that the order of things to come will be false flag events, followed by martial law and culminating in World War III.